Hello. Hello, hello, hello. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. And today we're talking about the power or power in practice, right? Again, all this week we're talking about being open to possibility, but today we're talking about this power in practice. You don't stumble into power, you guys. You actually walk in it on purpose. All right. It's an intention. All right. So don't wait to feel powerful. Practice it until it becomes your rhythm. All right. All right. So today's focus is really about challenges. This today's focus challenges the belief that confidence is a personality trait. All right. Because it's not. All right. It's a practice. And power isn't something you earn, it's something you walk in or walk out every day. All right. So here's a question I have to ask you. What does power mean to you right now? What does power mean to you right now? And what's one way you can practice it today? All right. What's one way you can practice it today? Listen, what if the power or what if power isn't something you finally wake up and finally feel one day? All right. What if it is something that you practice on purpose, right? Even when it feels unfamiliar to you. All right. You don't drift into confidence. All right. You don't stumble into alignment, right? You walk into power repeatedly, intentionally, right? And quickly or quietly. All right. It is one of those it is one of those things that we have to challenge. All right. We definitely have to challenge this idea that you're born with something. So again, this week we're talking about opening up, being open to possibilities. And one of the things or important things about being open to possibilities is this open mindset, right? And really going from this fixed mindset of I was just born like this. This is who I am, right? To know I get to choose who I can become, right? And then I have to demonstrate that. Who am I demonstrating that to? You're actually demonstrating that to every cell in your body, right? So a lot of times we get caught up in other people like, oh, I don't got to do that because, that person isn't important enough. So I'm not going to say anything because that person isn't, worth my time. I'm not going to, do this because that person isn't worth, the argument. And what we fail to realize, you guys, is listen very closely. You are an advocate for you now. All right. So it's not about what that other person is willing or not willing to do. Okay. It's truly, 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 it's about you. Okay. It's about you advocating for what? This grown age of adult you, right? And that inner child in you that is screaming for protection, wanting to feel safe. In safety, we know is an ongoing thing. It doesn't just happen once. Like it's the appetite of life. So you're constantly going to advocate for yourself. So if you have something to say it, right? And it's not, I'm not going to say it because they not going to get it anyway, or they say it so you can train your 750 cells that what you have to say is important. Okay. That what you have to say is important. And remember, you don't drift into confidence. You don't stumble into alignment. You walk into power, okay, repeatedly and intentionally. All right. So why my wife for today's session, listen, this isn't about hype at all, right? It's about your habits or your rituals. All right. Because habits is sometimes we can develop habits unintentionally, right? Like if I do something long enough, it's going to be a habit. Rituals are more intentional, right? Before I take this water, I'm going to intentionally, say an affirmation. Or before I eat my food, I'm going to intentionally, say a prayer and bless the food, right? That's more of a ritual than it is a habit, right? Because I'm intentional about that. Okay. And so I think that we at this grown age of an adult have to put rituals in. And these rituals is really shifting the energy. It's telling the energy what you want it to do or the emotion what you want it to do. And in just this body, this vessel, right? What you want from it. All right. So again, this is not about hype. This is about habits. It's about shifting from performance energy to presence energy, you guys. You already have the power. All right. You just haven't been practicing it consistently. All right. Remember, consistency is the key here. We want to do a thing over and over again. Now, I may miss a day, right? two steps forward, one step back, but I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do it because I'm practicing, right? And I'm training my brain to think a certain way. Right? Why? So I can become that in which I desire. And so I can create that in which I desire. So my presence now can experience that in which I desire. All right. So you already have the power. You just don't, you just haven't been practicing it. And today we're going to reconnect to that rhythm. Okay. I'm gonna give that disclaimer. Awareness versus action. Listen, awareness that you've been playing small is not the same as choosing to rise. All right. The awareness that you've been playing small is not the same as you choosing to rise. All right. They're two different energies, right? Two different emotions. Gratitude for your gifts isn't just about feeling, right? It's about practicing. And that practice becomes what? Your power. All right. So again, hello, it's Wednesday. Okay. It's Wednesday and it's Gratitude Shift Wednesday. Okay. So I want you to take your deep breath, take a moment just to return back to yourself again. A lot has happened, this morning, my son had a doctor's appointment, so I couldn't come on, right? Getting prepared, right, for this great graduation on Friday. So, let's just return back to ourselves for a minute. And I want to welcome you back to Life Lessons, all right, with Dr. Sheila Little. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Sheila Little, licensed clinical therapist, in business psychologist, and the creator of the Stop and Now method, right? And Life Lessons is a part of Project Life, and Project Life is where we learn how to turn theory into practice. All right. So drop a word in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling on this beautiful day. And then definitely not as hot. So how are you feeling? I'm feeling so grateful on today. All right. Drop it in the chat. How are you feeling? All right. Or just think about it, or write it on an envelope, or speak it in your mind. Like, how are you feeling? Okay. All right. So who this session is for? This session is for you if you've confused power with performance, right? If you felt confident on the outside, but disempowered on the inside. And if you've been waiting to feel strong instead of practicing strength, all right? You've been waiting to feel strong, or you've been, waiting to feel strong instead of practicing strength. And what does that mean? One day it's going to happen. And practicing is, you know what, I'm gonna start lifting 5 pounds, and then I'm gonna lift 10 pounds, right? And I'm gonna get stronger because I'm practicing my strength. I'm actually utilizing it. So if you've been waiting, right, for the muscles to build versus actually building the muscle, this is for you. All right. So here's our powerful quote for today. Listen, power isn't a moment. It's a rhythm. All right. And gratitude is what makes it sustainable. It's because I'm acknowledging, right? I'm acknowledging, and that's what gratitude is, what is happening, and accepting good, bad, or indifferent, right? With the sense of gratitude or thanksgiving. All right. So let's discuss today's session. All right. Power without consistency becomes pressure. Okay. But when you practice your truth daily, how you speak to yourself, how you set boundaries, and how you show up, guess what? Power becomes your peace. All right. So power without consistency is pressure. Like you just, sporadically doing it. But when you can do this daily, all right. So when you can practice your power daily, right? How you speak to yourself, setting boundaries, holding those boundaries, having an expectation, right? How you show up for yourself, how you talk to yourself. Listen, then power becomes peace, right? Because now it's programmed, right? And this is you, and this is your becoming. Okay. So here's how we're going to connect today's message with yesterday's message, right? Listen, you don't need permission to sign, but once you give yourself that permission, you have to practice the presence that it requires. So yesterday was all about giving yourself permission to shine, right? Just not playing small or recognizing that. Now, here's the thing. Once you give yourself that permission, right, you have to practice that permission again. It's not this one and done thing that we've been taught. And a lot of times in life, guess what? We've been taught that, do it. Once I get there, I'll be happy. Once I get this, then I won't have this. No, life is life, and life is going to continue to request. It's going to continue to get hungry. It's going to continue to get thirsty. It's going to continue to want stuff from you. Okay. Right. And so we have to put practices or habits or rituals into place, right? In intention. Okay. All right. So that's where this session lands. It's not about the one brave moment that you have, right? It's about how you hold that energy daily. So again, I encourage you to be brave, right? And do something different. Say something different, right? That is always encouraged. And right, and being brave every day, right? Like, okay, it is about okay, I did that. So that showed me that I can do it. And I'm going to do it again and again and again. Okay. All right. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, put a heart in the chat for me. Listen, I had a client that launched her business after a powerful clarity moment, right? But weeks later, guess what? She found herself shrinking again. How many of you guys have done that? You did something, you accomplished something, you said you was going to do it, you start working out, then you shrink back. Listen, it wasn't about doubt, it was about disconnect for her. All right. She wasn't in rhythm. Okay. So once she began practicing her affirmations, recentering her values, understanding her expectations, right, and embodying her boundaries, right, guess what? Her confidence returned. All right. Again, we think, and this happened in relationship, and this coming up in my spirit. I have to say this. You know, when you have a disagreement with somebody, or I'm gonna say a relationship, and then those first couple of days after that, y'all good, right? And then eventually you start to taper off again, right? Like something changes and you set back into that old way of being. And listen, that's not helping to develop the new behavior that you desire. All right. So we have to not only be brave enough to do the thing, right? But we have to be brave enough to do the thing again and again and again. And so much so that it actually retrains, how we show up. All right. So with that being said, let's take our pause, right? And I want you to think, this is your heart check in. So I want you to think about, where in your life have you been hoping power would show up? Where in your life have you been hoping that power would show up instead of really practicing it daily? Huh? Think about that. You know, is it at work? Is it at home? All right. Where in your life have you been hoping power would show up instead of practicing it daily? Listen, too many of us wait for a wave of confidence to carry us, or we wait for this perfect moment, right? We're waiting. Listen, we wait for external signals, the ideal situations, right? The perfect mood to really feel powerful. Okay. But power isn't a guest that knocks on the door, you guys. It's a rhythm. Okay. It's a rhythm that you initiate. It's a thing that you cut on and you get in relationship with it. So you understand your dance with power. All right. And today's mirror moment really is asking you to be radically honest with yourself. Okay. Are you waiting for your strength to arrive, or are you walking in it? Oh, are you walking with what you already have? All right. Or what is already available to you. All right. So here's some facts I want you to know about this. Confidence is not a personality trait. All right. It's a practice identity. All right. Again, confidence is, if you break the word down, it's confide, right? So the root word of confidence is confide. So that means to trust. All right. And so it's trust in what? In my competency, in the thing that I do. Okay. All right. So confidence is not something that you're just going to be born with, right? It's a skill. It's built like skill, right? So you become competent, then you get confidence. Now, if you grew up in a healthy household, right, then you may feel a level of confidence because you are in an environment that would help you to feel or help you to develop some competencies, right? If that's communicating your feelings and things like that. Now, if you wasn't born in that type of home or in that kind of community that supported your competencies, all right, and then you started to develop them, okay, now, right now you may not feel as confident. And remember, confidence is not just one thing, right? Because I can be very confident speaking to you right now, right, on this about this topic, and then I can go and not feel so confident to get on the stage and sing. All right, I don't feel as confident in picking up the mic and singing, or I may not feel as confident to bring up an issue, right, to someone that I care about, right? But if I do that enough, right, then I'm going to get the confidence. So again, confidence is not a personality trait, it's a practiced identity. You don't have to be an extroverted or outspoken or fearless to be powerful, you guys. Confidence is built when you consistently show up, even when you're scared, okay? And even when you're scared and you choose to do it anyway, repetition really rewires your beliefs. All right. Another thing I need you to know is that your power isn't a peak, right? It's a posture. It's not a peak, it's the posture. All right. It's not a moment that you arrive to. All right. It's not a moment that you arrive to or a moment that you arrive at. It's a stance. All right. It's a stance you return to. Okay. I love that. Right. I think that we think it's just in life that life is a peak and life is more of a posture, right? So power is not a peak, it's a posture, right? It's not about arriving in some moment or feeling powerful in a moment or having your Superman moment or Superwoman moment, right? It's a stance that we return back to. Power is something you hold through alignment, not in adrenaline. All right. And a lot of us, we will demonstrate our power, right? Um, when we have an adrenaline rush, right? We're emotionally pushed for that. And real power though is built, right? Brick by brick, decision by decision, behavior by behavior, right? And then you can sit in that, all right? And you can choose to stand in that daily, all right? All right. Another thing I want you to know, gratitude realigns you with your authority. So when you stop forcing or when you stop focusing on what's missing, guess what you do? You start to really honor what's within you. All right. You activate your agency. Okay. Gratitude grounds your power in presence and self-truth. All right. All right. A couple of more things. Everything you set, or every time you set a boundary, I'm sorry, every time you set a boundary, you reinforce your self-trust. All right. Every time you set a boundary, you are reinforcing your self-trust. Boundaries are not just about other people. Okay. And I think that we get that mixed up. Right. Here's the line, don't cross the line. All right. And then when they cross the line, then we cut them off or we have something to say. And that's just not how a boundary is. A boundary is here's the line. Okay. Now you step over the line. I'm going to remind you that you've stepped over the line. All right. And whatever that is, like, hey, you stepped over the line. This is pretty much my boundary. I'm gonna have to get back with you. Whatever that conversation is, you're letting them know that they stepped over the line. So say they want to stay there. Okay. Well, because you stepped over the line and because you don't, I'm communicating my boundary, I'm going to walk away. All right. I'm going to hang up the phone. I'm going to have a conversation with you later. We can revisit this again because obviously this is not a good time to talk about this, right? All right. Listen, boundaries are not just about other people. They're about you. And guess what? It's hard for you to communicate that. If you set a boundary, it's just easy for you to say, hey, don't come past this don't come past this line, right? And you would hope that everybody would listen to you because that would be the easiest thing to do. But unfortunately, that's not how life works. You have to keep reminding that person, and that is where the work is for you. Like, hey, you crossed the line, hey, you crossed the line, hey, you crossed the line, right? And that's your work. All right. All right. So again, boundaries aren't just about others, they're about reminding you that your voice and your limits are important. Matter of fact, they're sacred. Okay. Repeating boundaries builds internal safety and emotional clarity. All right. And last but not least, for this section, you don't build power in the spotlight, you guys. You build it in the silent moments of your choices. All right. This is way more about integrity. Okay. It's not what you're doing in front of everybody. It's what you're doing when you are alone, when you're with yourself. All right. What are you doing? What are you saying? Listen, power is actually forged when no one is watching you. All right. When you choose discipline over distraction, truth over performance, and integrity, listen, over easy or even ease. All right. just revealed the stage just reveals what with the practice or what you have already practiced. All right. So you don't build power in the spotlight. Okay. That stage reveals what you have been practicing already. With who? With you in your personal space. All right. Listen, gratitude isn't just thankfulness, you guys. It's an energetic agreement with your current alignment. All right. Without practice, power becomes a performance. But when you're practiced or when it is practiced, it becomes presence. It becomes your presence. Okay. When you practice your power, you actually build self-trust. All right. And that self-trust becomes what? Your momentum. All right. A person in this project said to me, once I stopped trying to feel powerful and I started acting from my power, my life changed. Listen, once I stopped trying to feel powerful and I actually just stepped into my power, my life changed just because it's just two different energies. You're trying to do something and see, listen, um, yeah, trying to do something and acting is two different things. It's like trying to lift, um, I'm trying to say like a weight. I'm trying to give a good analogy because I don't know if so you're trying to lift a weight. Um, you're like, I'm gonna try to lift that, I'm gonna try to lift that, but then you go do it. Now, when you go do it, you may realize that that weight is too heavy, it's too strong. I mean, it's too heavy. So now what you gotta do, you gotta practice. You probably gotta get a smaller weight. You gotta probably start with the lesser weight. It's in the doing. That's my point. So when you step into your power and you stop acting, and when you stop trying to be powerful and you start acting from that power, you're going to get information. And that information is going to be communicated through every cell in your nervous system in your body. Okay. All right. And that is the change, right? That is the shift. All right. And that is the fulfillment. Listen, neuroscience confirms that identity-based habits reinforce behaviors faster than motivation alone. That means that when you believe that this is for you, identity-based, it's aligned with you. Okay. They reinforce behaviors faster than motivation alone. All right. You don't need to prove your power. All right. You need to practice it. You don't need to prove your power. You need to practice it. So we know that the P in stop it stands for patterns and paradigms. All right. Listen, our patterns don't just repeat themselves. All right. They preach. They speak. Okay. They speak. They tell us what we believe about ourselves, what we expect from others, and guess what? And what we think we deserve. All right. And unless we interrupt those paradigms, right? That lens in which you see life with practice, we will keep defaulting into fear instead of really choosing power, you guys. So today speaks directly to that inner loop. All right. Because gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. All right. It's about being intentional with what you're walking in. All right. So here's 10 essential truths that I want you to know. Just around patterns and paradigms, and when we're talking about in today's theme, which is stepping into your power. All right, stepping into your power. All right, listen, your power won't feel familiar at first. Okay, your power won't feel familiar at first. That doesn't mean it's not yours, though. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's not yours. It means that it's new, you guys. So when you do something, it's not going to feel familiar. But it doesn't mean that it's a red flag or it's not for you. It's just new. All right. Another thing I want you to know that old patterns don't die easy. Okay. All right. They demand proof that you've changed. All right. So show them with action. What this is again, I told you the story about the guy who got the divorce, right? And then his wife came in. And one of the analogies I showed to him was like, you prayed for this and now you all the way walked out in life. Like, wait, before you actually do that, are you sure that you don't want to are you sure that you don't want to be married? Right? Life has a way of looping. In a sense, it's asking you, hey, are you sure this is not what you want? You know, and it will do it in the most subtle ways and it'll do it in the most blatant ways. All right. I also want you to know that every decision Okay, so old patterns don't die easy. They demand proof from change. So show them with action. All right. Every decision either reinforces your past or rehearses your future. Okay. That, you know, I think if there's anything that you could have on your bathroom mirror, is everything I do is either reinforcing a past, or it is I'm rehearsing my future. Right. And why is it rehearsal for the future? Because you're becoming. And it's like you're practicing. You're practicing for what? For that moment. And that moment is coming every day, all the time. Life is challenging you, all right, to show up. Right. And when I say challenge, I'm not even saying in a threatening way. I'm saying just like the weights challenge you, all right? Right? Just like that weight is challenging you, life is challenging you to get stronger. All right. Listen, gratitude is not weakness, it's a weapon, right? It keeps your heart soft while your boundaries stay strong, or your expectations stay strong, or your standards stay strong. Discipline is spiritual. All right. So being consistent with your power is how you co-create with God. Okay. All right. Another thing I want you to know is that you don't rise by height, you rise by rhythm. You really do have to find your rhythm. Okay. Find your rhythm, you guys. What is your rhythm? All right. A couple of more. The way you do small things shape your identity. Okay. The way you do the small things is what shapes your identity. Listen, treat the little moments like declaration. I think we're so caught up in the big moments. You know what I mean? But it's really about these small moments that really shape how we see ourselves, it shape our identity, right? And this is where integrity is built, all right? In these little small decisions, okay? It's not always the big grand gestures, it's those little small things that make us, okay? A couple of more. You are always practicing something, so make sure it's your power, or make sure it's your power in your presence and not your past. All right. So you're always practicing something, so make sure it's your power in your presence and not your past. All right. And just because your power feels unfamiliar doesn't mean it's unsafe. The nervous system may trigger some stuff in you. Okay. But just because it feels unfamiliar doesn't mean it's unsafe, because it's yours. Okay. It's your power. And last but not least, embodiment is louder than affirmation. All right. So you don't just speak power, you walk in it. All right. All right. If that makes sense, if you like that section, put a heart in the chat for me as we go into our biblical wisdom. Today, our principal verse is 2 Timothy 1:7. All right. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of self-discipline. All right. Listen, the interpretation of this is that fear might knock. All right. It might not. Okay. But it doesn't get to lead, you guys. All right. You've already been given power. Now it's your job to practice it. All right. Again, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and self-discipline, or a sound mind. All right. So listen, this verse isn't just reassurance, it's identity definition. All right. You wasn't given fear as a default. You were wired for power with power, for love with love, and practice, right? This is how, by design, the more you do something, the more you practice it, the more you get at it. You know why you think Steph Curry is like one of the best shooters? Because he shoots the ball. All right. There's something called muscle memory. When you do something enough, all right. All right. If you worked out, there's muscle memory. So you tend to burn fat faster, all right, from the memory of the muscle, right? We build habits. You do stuff enough and you build habits. So just know that practice is in you. All right, we're built for this. So the word self-discipline or sound mind in other versions of this really reminds us that consistency and clarity is not self-generated, right? They're spiritual, they're divine source, they're divinely sourced. So these verses actually affirm these verses actually affirm the foundation of today's message, that power isn't a personality trait. It is a divine inheritance, and you don't need, right, to hustle for clarity. You practice it because you've already received it. All right. You practice it because you already received it. All right. So here's a heart kind of centered meaning. You don't have to wait until fear goes away. All right. You don't have to wait until fear goes away to start walking in your power. All right. This isn't about eliminating all doubt. All right. It's about practicing truth until it gets louder than your fears, you guys. And so I say, go with the fear in the beginning. Go with the fear. Go with the fear. Go with the fear. Go with the angst. Breathe. You start feeling a little anxious, breathe and whisper you're safe. Right? When the body seems to start trying to get you to pull back into that old way, just take a moment, breathe, and direct it. Nope, we're going this way. And I'm going to breathe and I hear you, right? And build relationship with your body. All right. So when we say practice over power, or so when I say practice your power, what I'm really telling you is to perform is what I'm not telling you is to perform. It's really returning to the divineness that's already deposited in you, or the God that's already living inside of you. All right. Our promise verse, Luke 10:19. I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. You know, I like this one. All right. Listen, Luke 10:19. I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. And this interpretation, you've been given spiritual authority, right? Not to just feel power, but to walk in it with clarity, even when it's hard. Okay. It says, I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. All right. So this verse is about activation. All right. When you have authority, that means you have reign, right? But you got to do something with it. All right. A parent is the authority over a child. All right. But the child is not going to feel that parent's authority if they don't create boundaries, if they don't, I think consequence is coming up, but if there's not a consequence or some type of structure or expectation, I think that's a better word. If there's not expectation put, all right. And so there's something expected of you, and that is movement, action. Okay. Nothing in life stands still. Even the chair you sitting in right now is vibrating at a certain level. All right. Dust is moving. You don't see it. Okay. Because nothing in life stands still. All right. So this verse is really about activation. It's one thing to possess authority. It's another thing to practice that authority. All right. So this authority isn't for sure, you guys. It's for you. It's for navigation. All right. It means that you've been given access to peace in the chaos, clarity in the confusion, and power in what your presence. All right. So Luke 10:19 actually reminds us that you don't have to feel powerful to move with your power. All right. God already gave you the authority, all right, but that authority does not become real until you actually practice it through what expectations, through boundaries, through your voice, through your actions, through your aligned decisions. All right. So this isn't about waiting for divine lightning to really strike you. It's really about trusting that the divine has already moved, and now you get to move in agreement with it. All right. All right. So together, these verses again dismantle the lie that you need to be fully healed, you need to be perfectly prepared, or endlessly confident to be powerful. All right. 2 Timothy 1:7 says that your power isn't performance, it's about your presence. All right. And Luke 10:19 says that authority isn't pending, right? It's already active in you. So this lesson is a divine reminder, all right? A mental reminder, an emotional reminder, and a practical reminder that practice is what transforms power from theory into your identity, okay? So because the God in you is not just watching you from afar. All right? That spirit is actually walking with you in rhythm, all right, every day, every moment of the day, all right. So here's my question: how would you carry yourself today if you really believe that power was your default and not your destination. All right, how would you carry yourself today? All right, so let's move and see how can we put this into practice. All right. Let's put it into practice. So the first thing I want you to do is identify one practice that reflects your power. Is it your voice, your boundary, your rest, or your truth? And then I want you to repeat it for the next 7 days. All right. Anchor it with gratitude every day. And anchor it with gratitude every day. Your journal prompt for today is, where have I been practicing, or where have I been waiting to feel strong instead of practicing my strength? All right. And then your affirmation: power is my practice, not my performance. And then our intention for today is, today I walk in alignment with my power. And here's your bonus. For the next 24 hours, I want you to treat every decision as a reflection of your personal authority. All right. Listen, if this life lesson really spoke to you, all right, and it really made you want to be back in relationship with your rhythm, all right, then drop a fire in the chat. All right. Then drop a fire in the chat. And if you get that from this lesson, then know that that is what this project is about. Okay. And if you are interested in the project, we do have some open spaces. So you can go to sheilalittle.com/ right life. And again, if this session resonated with you, and you're walking away with some insight, drop a fire in the chat. I really want you to know and remember that if you can shape it in your mind, guess what? You can have it. Oh, wait, no. I got to do my call, my challenge, and my charge. Okay, listen, I'm calling you and I'm asking you what? Let me. Okay, I'm calling you and I'm asking you, what part of power are you reclaiming today? All right. I'm challenging you today to what will you practice on purpose this week? And then your charge. Don't wait to feel powerful. Practice until it feels familiar. Okay. Practice until it feels familiar. Listen, your power isn't a title, it's your truth. Okay. And Project Life is truly here to help you. Practice it until it becomes a lifestyle for you. All right. So tomorrow I'll be traveling, so I won't be able to I'll be live with you. Hopefully, I will get a recording to you on tomorrow, or I may just pop up live from from my destination. Listen, you don't need to get louder to be powerful. All right, you just need to get consistent. All right. So let today be the day that you stop waiting and that you start walking in your rhythm. Okay. Now remember this. If you could shape it in your mind, guess what? You can have it in your life. And I want you to know I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will see you tomorrow, right? Or I will see you live on Monday for that life lesson. All right.